It's the top of the ninth. The Phillies are trailing the Marlins 6-4. Things swung pretty fast in the seventh inning. Welcome to the PHLY Phillies post-game show. As we are finishing out the game with you, we've got Junior Marte, who came back, was called up today as Spencer Turnbull was placed on the IL. Michael Mercado is going to be sliding into a starting role. So we're seeing Junior Marte get his first pitches back, working from his injury. We've got some updates on some other injuries, though, that our own John Foley was just tweeting out about Kyle Schwarber, who just left the game with some groin soreness, injury bug. Here we are, guys. What's up? Tyler Zulli, Jamie Lynch, myself, Renee Washington. We're going to have John Foley joining us a little bit later on from the ballpark. Hopefully the fireworks aren't too loud and he can join us clearly, be able to weigh in on the game. But right now we're just watching on the edge of our seats to see if the Phillies can come back and out the rest of this game and get a win.
Yeah, robo umps, challenge system. Like, I why do we let these? We have a better way. And to see a guy like Zach Wheeler, who is pretty reserved on a baseball field, go up to the dugout railing and say, "That's on you." I'm pretty sure he said "dick" after that. If the lip reading, to see him steaming like that, you kind of saw Caleb Cotham steaming. I didn't see Rob during it. I don't know if they cut to him or not. But to see Zach Wheeler lose his cool like that a little bit, not even lose his cool, it was pretty, in check. Like, come on, there's a better way out here. Even if you go to the challenge system, that's one that Rob Thompson and the Phillies are out of this. They leave that inning up 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
That is just one call that's inexcusable. We have the graphic. We'll flash it once we get into the real post game stuff. But the takeaway is that this is just one of those games that's just crap.
Yeah. Yeah. That's honestly we've seen this, unfortunately, more and more lately. And here now, the robo-umps are not happening and everything. And you watch games. It's not just the Phillies. I mean, we've been seeing some bad calls throughout where, the pitch is clearly out of the strike zone or it's clearly in the strike zone. And it's, what are you looking at? I have no idea what's happening. It's just how many times are we going to continue to have games get screwed up because the umps can't get it right, can't do their jobs. This is what you're here for.
Well, and I think today especially it's unfortunate because sometimes you can tightrope your way out of danger, and unfortunately, today they didn't. And you got to kind of hat tip the Marlins a little bit. They took advantage. Some really hard hit balls. Brian De La Cruz 99, Josh Bell 105 off the bat. Then you go into the next inning. The Jake Berger home run off of Hoffman, 99.6. It's gone in 29 of 30 ballparks. I don't even need to look. I guarantee you it probably wasn't gone in Baltimore.
It's too high.
How about that? Wasn't gone in Baltimore. Nick Gordon's double, 98. Tim Anderson grounded out at 97. Like, the Marlins did a nice job of taking advantage of a pitch that was definitively a strike, that was not ruled a strike. And it's unfortunate today because you kind of had an opportunity to cruise into a 3-0 lead heading into the seventh.
Yeah, it's just there's a better way, it's just that simple. There's a better way. Even if you don't want to go full robo umps, then you go to the challenge system, because a call like that just shouldn't happen. And on a night where Matt Strahm and Jeff Hoffman are the two that let you down, like, it just turned into bizarro world after that missed call. I mean, Edmundo Sosa botched a routine play at shortstop. Like, things just got weird after that call, and it swayed the game. It really did.
Yeah, I know Philly Sports Fan 23 in the chat is saying the same, it's not lost. It's not lost, but they're currently losing because of the umpire. I do agree with you on that. Flyers in 7 is talking about the fireworks. I know Eugene Krabs, you're mentioning how much you hate this team. And yes, the U.S. men's national team did just lose also. And now the Phillies are down. And then Sports Gaming Music, what's up? Nice to have you here. You're saying it's all your fault because when the Phillies were up 3-0 with 2 outs in the 6th, you were watching on your iPad, had some things around the house, and you came back and scored 4, and you shouldn't let that spot. Sports Gaming and Music basically is what we're getting from that. You should have continued staying where you were. So it is another frustrating game.
Yeah, now, Tyler, you can hop right, but like getting that news that Kyle Schwarber left with groin tightness here at the end too was just like the shit cherry on top. So fantastic.
You guys brought up the relievers that struggled today. It's an unfortunate evening where your two best high leverage relievers this season, and Matt Strom and Jeff Hoffman, both struggle on the same day. If you gave like, it's kind of like if you rolled 100 dice, how many times is a negative outcome coming up for both of them in the same day? I bet.
I mean, maybe once,
maybe twice. Like, this is one of those unfortunate circumstances where you had your best left-handed high leverage reliever, struggle out of the pen, and then Jeff Hoffman, your best right-handed high leverage reliever, give up a home run to Jake Berger. And it is what it is. It's an unfortunate circumstance of miscues and poor performances, tallied together. I don't expect anything to come from this. I'm not worried about, the future of the bullpen, and we're not going to dive down that road of issues with this bullpen. These are your two best bullpen arms that just so happen to both struggle on the same day. It's unfortunate.
I was saying they showed they're human. I mean, for Strom in general, and definitely for Jeff Hoffman, they've been so fantastic out of the bullpen. And much like we saw with Jose Alvarado in Wednesday's game, they're going to have these moments where it's a little off. Their pitches aren't as clean as they should. But today is just one of those. It is a weird game, and you hate to point it back to umps, but it does change things. You're up 3-0 versus now it's 4-3. Drastically changes the game, and ever since, it feels like a lot of random mistakes and errors that we've seen, as we just saw another scoring run come in, and it's 7-4. It just feels like one of those bizarre days of like random little things going wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like Tyler said, that happens 1 out of maybe 100 days where both of them malfunction on the same day. It turned into one of those games, but this is how my brain works. I'll take you guys inside the brain cage.
No thanks.
Oh no.
Strap in, Tyler. It's dark.
Pass.
Oh no.
I consider that stuff a result of the emotions of the game. Like, I can't prove it. I can't, there's no analytics on that, but I just feel like when something like that happens, that's so kind of blatantly wrong to a guy that's, at 115 pitches, is about to go scoreless through 7 again. When he kind of gets like robbed like that, I feel like the vibes get weird, the auras go off, and like, they both struggled clearly. I mean, Jeff Hoffman hung one middle in, but like I chalk that stuff up in my brain to like going back to the umpire. And, many people will probably disagree with me, and it's not something I can ever prove, but I just think the vibes get the axis of the earth gets tilted in that game, and things fall apart.
No, it's to your point, and I thought this trip into your dark brain was going to be a lot scarier.
No, that was very tame.
To your point, though, how many
and that's
times?
Not an excuse. That's the way I feel.
No, but it's the reality, though. It's the reality, because here's what it comes down to: you have a routine play, and I feel like when plays like that happen, you're caught so off guard of like, wait, how did you miss that?
I'm like, wait, I'm coming in. Like,
right, and then that is contagious that now everybody in the dugout is riled up just like Zach was, and they're like, oh no, now you're thinking about the wrong things is what it comes down to. Now you're mad about the missed call. You're mad about the
takes you out of your headspace.
It Absolutely. Does. And in sports, we see that happen all the time where the officiating literally disrupts the flow of a team, and they can't recover. And right now, it's a 4-game series, guys. Listen, it's Thursday. There's a lot of baseball left to be played this weekend.
4-game powered series, Renee.
I know. It's your favorite. But because of that, you don't panic. But it is annoying.
Yeah, it's a really annoying game because, you look like you had enough. Zach Wheeler was dealing all game long. And I mean, he labored through a couple innings there, but for the most part was great and got out of every base runner he put on. And it looked like, okay, Zach Wheeler's gonna stat pad, another Cy Young category here tonight. And then it just turns and you see him in the dugout going, that's on you. So, it just got flipped on its head, and it sucks.
Yeah, I think that there's probably a middle ground between the emotion that you're dictating and like next man up mentality that you guys talk about all the time, where Yes, it does kind of flip the axis of the game on its head a little bit. And I think that you have two really good bullpen arms that you can trust in a scenario like that to shut the door. Again, I think this thing snowballed a little bit tonight, and there's still an opportunity. I know they're down 3. They still have 3 outs to play with, but this thing snowballed a little bit tonight, and it is what it is. This is the product of a 162-game season where this kind of stuff is going to happen. I guarantee you the Phillies are going to win this type of game at some point between now and September, where they have no right to win this game, and they do, right? Like the Marlins didn't really have a right to win today. Rogers was okay. Rogers pitched okay. I thought he got out of a couple jams, and you kind of tipped the cap to him a little bit. But I didn't think his stuff was all that impressive. You had an opportunity to jump on him, and you didn't. But the fact remains was Zach Wheeler pitched really, really well through 6 innings. You probably should be winning this game. This game probably should be over right now. And the likelihood is that you're going to win this type of game somewhere down the line. Maybe it's against the Dodgers. Maybe it's against the Yankees. Maybe it's against the Braves. You know what I mean? Like it comes in a spot where maybe it comes in a spot where you need it most.
Are we watching former or soon to be Philly Tanner Scott close this out for the Marlins?
This is tryout. This is it.
Yeah. Pay attention, guys. You might be in that dugout in a couple weeks.
Can I can I be the one to say that I don't particularly want Tanner Scott?
Sure. I'm not like pounding the ground for him, but I feel like he's an obtainable guy.
Let me rephrase that. He's an intriguing move. Obviously, the baseline numbers are good, right? He's got the 1.6 ERA, struck out 35 over 34 innings. The walks are a problem. He's in a second percentile amongst qualified pitchers with walk percentage. He's walking about 16% of the hitters he's faced. That is a concern to me for a guy that you're probably going to have to give up, a mid-level prospect to maybe an upper echelon B-level prospect to acquire. I personally would consider other arms before I would get Tanner Scott. I wouldn't hate it, but he's not, to me, the guy that I would go obtain.
Yeah, that's Luis Robert.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was talking just strictly.
Yeah, you mean Luis Robert. It's fine. 33 days until he joins the team, guys.
It would be great, though. I know Flyers in 7 is talking about how the bullpen arms have been overachieving. It still would be nice to be able to add another bullpen.
Who's overachieved? You have 3 guys that you trust implicitly.
Well, when you look at the numbers that like a Matt Strom is putting up.
Ooh. Harper just pulled his hamstring. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be shitting me.
You guys are ahead of me.
Oh, that's bad.
This is not good.
So many hamstrings. I didn't see it yet.
Oh, no. And on the last play of the game.
Because the game's over. Game is over.
That's the ump's fault.
This is ridiculous. Yeah, the game should be over. There's no reason they should even be right now batting.
Oh, no.
I'm watching it now.
That does not seem good.
Oh, yeah. It popped for sure. Oh, no. Oh, I've done that. Damn you, hamstrings. So many hamstrings. Damn. And when they put out the all-star voting today and it was like just barring him staying healthy, yada, yada, I was like, why are we putting that in there? This makes me very nervous. I don't love this at all. This is way more concerning than even Spencer's shoulder leaving yesterday. This is not good. This is not good at all. That is how the game ends. You have Brandon Marsh strike out, a ground ball out for Trey Turner, and then Bryce Harper gets out and possibly pulls his hamstring. This is where we are.
He definitely pulled it.
Yeah, he did.
That's probably 4 to 6 weeks right there.
Yeah, that's definitely. Oh my gosh, you could see.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Well, this is why getting a huge lead early in the season is a very, very good thing.
And this is why we keep talking about the longevity of the season, because injuries are going to happen, and you hate to see that this happens, because as we know, the Phillies win this game. If that 3-0 lead doesn't get blown, they don't even have to go in the bottom of the ninth. Game's over, and this doesn't happen to Bryce. But it also seems as though there needs, right now in this time of year with all the hamstrings that we've seen, I need the training staff to pick it up and make sure that we're managing guys. It's a long season. They've played a lot, obviously, but now we've had back spasms and hamstring injuries, muscle injuries like that are overuse. That's a concern. And I hope that the Phillies actively are doing something to make sure. Sosa, Marsh, Trey, now Bryce, another hamstring injury in the span of a month, 2 months. Frustrating.
And we don't know the Schwarber news too.
We don't know the short. Right. I actually forgot about his groin.
Let's hope that's minor, or you just lost, two of the most potent bats in baseball.
You get back
the same night because the umpire couldn't get a call right.
You get back Trey Turner. You get back Brandon Marsh. Even Cody Clemens is working back in his rehab.
I'm not sure the Schwarber injury is dictated by the.
No, it's the ump's fault.
Okay.
No, because you think what I will say is, though, to play devil's advocate to both of you, if this game is like 3-0, 4-0, you're not frustrated over umps calls.
Everything's different.
No, your whole demeanor is different depending on the score. So you're chasing the game and you are dealing with left groin tightness because of it.
It just popped up on MLB Savant, actually, Tyler. It says both injuries are the umpire's fault, and that's advanced analytics for you.
I didn't know that was a stat. I must have missed that one. Are you paying for that stat?
Yeah. That's what the subscription. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what.
Yeah.
I heard that too.
Yeah. And sometimes when I like to bitch about the umpires, I like to bitch about the umpires with a cold Miller Lite in my hand because it kind of takes the edge off a little bit. Not really. But it tastes good, and it's less filling, and it's the original light beer since 1975. And to this day, it's still the best one. Going down to the Phillies game on Sunday with the family, a Miller Lite will be in my hand, sitting around watching ball with the girls, having a great day. Cold, delicious, and less filling with great taste. Miller Lite keeps it simple. They hold on to what matters most and get rid of everything that they don't need. It's undebatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories. A light beer that tastes like beer should taste. Less filling and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. And you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than a regular premium beer.
Well, you may be frustrated with the outcome of that game, but you don't have to be frustrated with your finances too, because our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union want to make sure they're providing you with the best support they possibly can. Maybe you're planning on buying a house. Well, TrueMark Financial's mortgage specialist can offer guidance on loan options and terms. They'll help you assess your finances and credit score. They also will help you determine your best borrowing capacity and save for that down payment and budget for closing costs. Maybe you're saving for your kids' college fund and your future or future vacation. With our friends over at TrueMark, they want to make sure whether it's a mortgage, a vacation, or anything else that you're planning for, that they've got your back and have you supported. Also, maybe you're traveling. Maybe you want to go follow the Phillies on their road games that they have coming up. It's still easy to keep track of your spending with TrueMark Financial's mobile app. Because with their mobile app, it allows you to access your account anytime, anywhere. You can be able to check out your balances. You can view your transactions, make transfers, pay bills, and much more from the convenience of your mobile phone. So make sure to take advantage of all the great perks that TrueMark Financial has to help prepare for your future. It's way better rates and also the better return. You become a shareholder, which means your funds are coming back to you, not going to a bank or anything else. And you can prepare for the fun moments of life, going out to watch baseball games, planning for trips, going out to buy that house, planning for your kids' future. So TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. For more information, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY. All right, that is not the ending that we wanted to this game. Yet again, here we are on a post-game show. Welcome into our official PHLY Phillies. It is now the post-game show that the game is over. It is unfortunately another losing post-game show
Matt,
that the Phillies
we are
should have won.
Obligated to do this. We have to do this. I'm sorry.
We still have to have this show. Yes, I know. Good or bad, Matt, we still have to have a post-game show. And actually, we have a lot to talk through. This is a spot you can cry, you can vent. Everybody share your frustrations. What are you most mad about? Are you mad about the umps? Are you mad about the injuries? Are you mad about the fact they just lost? Are you mad because, I don't know, we spent so much time maybe talking about T-Mac's 10-year anniversary of his catch off of Freddie Freeman, and we got all excited and distracted, and then the Phillies turned around and lost? Lots to talk about today on the post-game show. First things first, the injury bug has bit again. We don't have official reports on the status of Bryce and Kyle. We do know that Kyle Schwarber, as our own John Foley, had let us know and tweeted out. Kyle Schwarber did leave the game with left groin tightness. On the very last play, we saw Bryce Harper go down with what looked like his left hamstring, if my left and right is correct. Unfortunately, seeing him hobbling off the field. We already had the news about Spencer Turnbull. We saw Wednesday, he went out with that right shoulder soreness. It ended up being a lat strain. So Spencer Turnbull has been placed on the IL. He is expected to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. There is no timeline for Taijuan Walker's return, but it won't be before the All-Star break is what's expected. So Michael Mercado's next up. He's going to get a handful of starts. We saw the return of Junior Marte. Injuries, guys. This is baseball. This is June that the injury bug has hit, and now it's causing some frustrations that we shouldn't even have to have these conversations, but it's next player mentality. Who's next?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much now hit every star. Bryce, we'll see what Schwarber is, but I'm expecting, he's going to get at least several games off. Trey, Real Muto, Harper, it's gotten them all now. I guess you hope for maybe 2 to 4 weeks, minor for Harper, but this feels like another Trey kind of timeline of 4 to 6 weeks. It's devastating. It really is. You can't explain that, how you just get like 4 to 5 injuries like in a row like that. It's just bad luck. I don't know. That's pretty brutal. It's a big blow to the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime the injuries pile up, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter who it is, of course, but injuries piling up over the course of 6 weeks is going to effectively cost you some semblance of a couple of weeks, a division, a lead in a division lead slip from 10 games as it was to perhaps 4 or 5 over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Braves lost today, luckily. So
sure, and I know the comments sitting here, like the comments are like, how do you lose to the Marlins? How do you lose to the right? And guys, like, I don't know if y'all are watching baseball with far too much of a football, basketball type lens. 162 games, you're going to lose to just about every team in the league at some point. These things happen. The injury bug stinks. Like, it's starting to catch up to them a little bit. You're hoping to kind of limp to the All-Star break and
it caught up, Tyler. It did a lap around them.
Yeah, you're hoping to kind of get to the All-Star break relatively unscathed. And basically my hope at this point with all these potentially lingering injuries is the pitching remains strong, the starting rotation remains intact, and at this point you play maybe 500 ball the rest of the way to the All-Star break, and you kind of regroup from there.
Yeah, I mean, the injury bug is here, and as we've talked about, this is partly why we've been so heavily happy to see the depth that we've had. And Edmundo Sosa that steps in, or David Dahl or Cody Clemens, whoever it is, because you can't rely, and you shouldn't have to rely on your everyday starters every day because of this exact reason. And to see so many hamstrings and backs and now a groin for Kyle, these muscle injuries as an athlete, I can tell you firsthand, this is absolutely overuse. This is, it's par for the course. You're in the midway point of the season. It's officially the midway point of the season. This is what happens when you had so many games, and it's frustrating because this team has been playing so well. And I remember us saying it feels like the only thing that can get in their way is themselves. Passive base running and decision-making or injuries or whatever it may be. And yet again, here we are. The Braves are continuing to lose. And the Phillies they rarely drop first games of series. They drop a first game. It is a 4-game series. There's lots of baseball left this weekend, so we're not going to panic or anything. But the panic is on the injury side because the injury bug is here, and it looks contagious. It's rolling through, and as you mentioned, it's Trey, JT, Brandon. It's now Bryce, Kyle. You already had Spencer you lost. It's concerning to see this because they've got to figure out a way to stay healthy. You cannot, like, as much as we love the fact that Sosa stepped up and other guys that have done, you can't have 6 to 8 weeks of missing Trey and JT and then Bryce and Kyle. We can't do this in twos. We can't keep doing this in twos, guys. That's the frustrating thing too.
Yeah, man, what a bummer. I thought we were just going to come on here tonight and talk about how much robo-umps are needed in baseball or a challenge system or something, and here we are now. Not that it's as severe because Ryan Howard tore his Achilles, but, like, this is the same type of feeling after watching Howard go down, like, and way less severe because obviously there was huge. That was NLCS, and you just kind of knew that was the end of that run. But like on a meaningless end of the game play where it was just kind of like a shitty night, 1-0, like all that's, and it's just like, it's just horrible. And people are going to sit there in the stands now and watch fireworks. I mean, I'm sure the kids don't care because, they don't really understand what's going on. But like, man, if I'm a dad down there with the family tonight and we're there for fireworks, I'm sitting there like, can you get me 6 more Miller Lights, please? We're taking an Uber home. It'd be miserable.
Come pick my car up tomorrow.
For this.
Yeah, that sucks though for the people watching fireworks right now.
Oh yeah.
The mood at the stadium has to be terrible.
For sure. The Phillies are now 21-7 in the first game of series. They had been really doing a good job, as we've been talking about, in series openers of winning games. Their overall record, of the run differential, of all the little things, all the little stats that we've been talking about. And today just sucked, quite frankly. Like, I don't care who, to me, when they lose games like this, it's really not about their opponent. It's not about Jake Berger, who I've removed from my fantasy team because he's been struggling, all of a sudden now being able to smash a home run. It's not about Josh Bell. It's not about, Roger. It's not about Rogers.
Up in the corner here. 0.
Whatever. It's about the fact that the Phillies, the umps did have a major game swinging bad call or decision, and then on top of that, the Phillies couldn't get out their own way.
Let's show it in case people
let's do that.
The stat cast there. I mean, pitch 4 there. Like, come on. And T-Mac, and who was T-Mac with tonight? Was that Ben Davis? I kind of blacked out.
No, it was Kruk.
It was Kruk. Okay. Yeah, T-Mac even said, like, Marshawn doesn't even know what the strike zone is right now. He's trying to figure it out. He said that in the 8th inning. That's terrible. And it's Zach Wheeler. It's a guy that should get the benefit of the doubt, especially if it's on the black like that, and he's at the end of the game, and it's 115 pitch. Like, I need to see a challenge system in baseball. It's not going to happen next year. I know they're moving it up. What, to AAA? Is it next year?
Yeah, they're like slowly rolling it out, but it's
just keep going up another level. Let's bring it up to the major league level, because if there's a better way, you can improve the game. Like, I know there's a human element of umpiring, but like, it's right there. There's a better way. What are you doing? Just implement it. When you have the technology to make the game better, for the most part, unless you're a soccer fan and you're talking VAR, it improves things. Nobody wants to talk about an umpire after the game. Nobody. And that was a strike, and it should have ended the inning. And this is a totally different game. And yeah, I'll say it. Bryce Harper might not be hurt because he might not be running out a single at the end of the game. The umpire, it was a trickle down of dog shit after that call.
It was. And again, in every sport, you see some level of accountability for officials to have something that can check them. I hate VAR, but it does give you a chance to look back at plays. You can throw the challenge flag. You can review the play. Like, baseball needs to get caught up. It's
2024.
It's 2024. There's no reason why we should still be having this conversation where umps can single-handedly change the outcome of a game in the 7th inning because they just don't know where the strike zone is. I mean, how many times have we said this? And it's not just the Phillies. And I know today it's because the Phillies lost, but I've been seeing people trashing the umps. And when Angel Hernandez left the league, we thought things were going to get better. It has not. It's actually been worse. We're hearing and seeing so much chaos that's happening when all you have to do is implement a way of checks and balances to make sure some of these calls have the ability to get reviewed better. And that if you're not going to roll out robo-umps, there's another option.
Yeah, real quick, Rob Thompson just said nothing like no updates on Harper or Schwarber until tomorrow. Both guys are going to get further testing done. So not expecting good news.
No, not at all, sadly.
But yeah, to Renee, to your point, yes, like just do it. At least you'll know it's fair. If a challenge system is there and a game, and this is like a perfect example of it, because at the end of the day, like Tyler said, this is probably going to balance out, and you'll probably be on the other end of one or two, or maybe even more of these type of games where it goes your way. But it's just like, but you have a system, you can improve it.
And it's not perfect at that, because I still see times that I watch them go on VAR or throw the challenge flag, and I'm like, you still got the call wrong. But at least you know they did their part to kind of look again. It shouldn't be you can just roll out a call, you can completely miss a strike zone, you can completely call, a balk or whatever you're calling in every game that we've seen now. That makes no sense. And we just move on. And we just have to suck it up and deal with it and be okay with the fact that the umps got it wrong. Oh, strike again. Ooh, all right, we're just going to move on to the next time. It does shake out, but it also is costing games. And in this situation, it does lead to an injury. Like, as we know with the hamstring, if Bryce has been dealing with a tight hamstring, at some point it possibly was going to go. But they could have maybe been, you don't have him run here, the game's over. Maybe now he's feeling it tomorrow. And instead of him fully pulling it, it just feels tight. And he can now be more proactive, and we can minimize how long he's out for. Because typically, hamstring, if it's going to go, it's going to go. But it didn't have to go like this. He didn't have to pull it. He didn't even have to be out there. So absolutely hoping that we're going to get some sort of encouraging news tomorrow from Kyle, Bryce Harper.
The lineup here going forward, because let's just assume the two of them are not here. I mean, you just lost your 1 and 3 hitter. I would imagine Castellanos becomes the 4-hole guy, just spitballing here out loud. Turner, maybe you make leadoff, maybe you keep him at 2. I guess the other possibility would be Stott. He's looked a little bit better this past week. He has some leadoff experience. Maybe you throw him up there. But then you got Bowman in the 3-hole, and then it's going to be real bad after Castellanos. I mean, Marsh, and then it's a Mundo, and you got Dahl, Stubbs / Marchand, and Pache or Witt. Or like, it's going to be a tough looking lineup here for a couple days at least.
Well, for everybody that's complained about Kyle Schwarber in leadoff, you might not see him in leadoff for a little while, and I bet you will be begging for Kyle Schwarber to be back in leadoff. But also, it does.
I guess not. Maybe you keep Turner in 2. Tyler, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think you're gonna probably allow Turner to stay at the 2 spot.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you can.
Maybe
because
not.
I think you have to, because you don't want 3 straight righties, because assuming Bohm moves up to 3 and Castellanos hits 4, I would imagine you could see a lineup where Turner leads off, a lefty is in between.
Stott at 2.
Yeah.
Probably Stott would be my guess. You probably go Turner, Stott, Bohm, Castellanos. And then you probably go Marsh at 5 to split up another righty. Sosa 6. See, my thing is I don't know who's DHing. And I think it's going to be a DH by committee.
Yeah.
My guess would be it'll be Dahl against righties.
Yeah.
And then you probably would go, because it depends on, again, it really depends on who hits the IL, who truly hits the IL, and who you're making the call for. My guess would be Weston Wilson's probably back up at some point in the next couple of days.
Yeah, you got a lot of pop to replace.
You could see him get a couple of cracks at the DH
Cody
spot.
Clemens has been working back in his rehab assignment. I don't know how close he is to being ready, but he's someone that if Bryce and Kyle are out for weeks, Cody should be back in that time that you could.
Rob commented today that it's not. This was obviously before the injury, so that changes roster spots. But he said earlier today it wasn't a lock that Cody would be on the big league club when he came back because he still had options. So I would imagine he's one of the first guys up, though, if both these guys find themselves on the IL.
Well, the good news for a lot of these guys that they've already, kind of up and down, like an option only counts one time, right? Like you could send Weston Wilson up for days now, right? So anybody that has an option being used, and another guy, I don't know if they're going to use him because it's a DH spot, but like there's an opportunity that you may see Johan Rojas sooner than you think. I don't anticipate it. I think that they want to let him kind of get a little bit of a maturation process in AAA. But there's a chance, I think there's a window that he can't be called up in between. I don't know if he's hit that window yet. I don't know how long it actually is. But you might see Rojas in some capacity. My guess would be the first person up, though, is going to be Weston Wilson.
Yeah. Let's actually shift gears and get some more insight on this from our very own John Foley. I know we've got some business to take care of, but I don't think we're going to have John for long. So let's bring him on really quickly to get a chance to hear from him before we lose him to the fireworks and the chaos. John, today, not a great day at all. What did you just hear from Rob? Give us the update. Give us something positive, hopefully. What's the latest?
I wish I had better news. Rob didn't have any updates on Schwarber or Harper. Just from the way he was talking about it, though, I'm not super optimistic. He indicated there wouldn't really be updates until tomorrow. Last time we heard that with Turnbull, we know how that turned out. And you all saw the same thing I did on that last play with Harper.
That's 4 to 6 weeks, John.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. So this is one of the worst nights in a while down here at the ballpark. Blowing the lead, the injuries. It started off not so bad, but all downhill from there.
John, one of my main bitching and moaning tonight is about the challenge system in the robo ump world and the future that should be here, frankly. I know AAA is getting the challenge system next year, and they've been toying around with experimenting. I mean, that missed strike 3 call tonight for Zach Wheeler completely changed the game. It frankly led to situations and injuries that might not have happened had you just gotten out of that inning. And I think Major League Baseball is way overdue for a challenge system at a minimum if you don't even go with the full robo-ump system.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And, whether you're for or against robo-umps, nights like tonight, they're a reminder that, umpires have to be held accountable in some way. It really seems like the overall quality across the league is slipping. I hope that's not just an overreaction to tonight.
I've been on this soapbox for a couple of years, and a night like tonight where you lose the leading vote getter in the National League to a hamstring injury on a meaningless play at first base really kind of like makes my blood a little hot because it should not have happened.
Right.
Yeah. The entire game would have been different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. It's a bad night. At least all the fans here will get some fireworks. Hopefully that'll cheer people up a little bit for the trip home. But I think this is the worst loss of the season, all things considered.
With the injuries
wrapped in. Hopefully some good news tomorrow. But somebody started asking Thompson about potential moves if Schwarber and Harper are placed on the IL. He shut that down very quickly and said, look, I don't know anything until tomorrow. So he didn't even want to go there and discuss the possibilities. But yeah, it doesn't look great.
No, not at all. And again, it's a bad loss because you lose 2 of your best hitters. You lose the leading vote getter for the All-Star game. You lose a possible MVP. Bryce was playing an MVP level. And today was frustrating. But as you mentioned, there's still fireworks going on, which sucks for people. For you, though, John, what did you take away from the game? Because we obviously already had yesterday where we lost Spencer Turnbull, and you come into today, and it's like, okay, new series, another chance to win a series and start off on the right foot. And the Phillies had that 3-0 lead and blew it. Aside from the umps, aside from the injuries, what were your takeaways from tonight's game?
I think the biggest takeaway is just how quickly fortunes can change, and you're cruising along, everything's great. You've got one of the best records in baseball. It looks like you're about to finish off another ho-hum victory, and then all of a sudden people are dropping like flies, and the Marlins are dropping 7 runs on you. That's baseball. hopefully, fortunes can reverse and turn around the other way as well. And maybe we'll get some good news tomorrow. But I think the real takeaway is just at least the Phillies have put themselves in a spot where they can weather a period of time without their stars. I mean, they've been doing it already with Real Muto out, Turner before that. It's really pretty impressive that they've been able to stay, to just keep rolling along, next man up. But now it seems likely that they'll be tested in a way that they really have not been before.
Yeah. John. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just hopefully they get full strength for the postseason, I think is the goal.
Yeah.
Now, they're pretty much locked for the postseason, even with the injuries. Knock on wood, of course. But I think like Baseball Reference has them at 99.9%.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. It would be very hard. Maybe the Braves will make a run, but it'd be very hard to drop out of the third wild card spot, I think. So, maybe get the injuries out of the way now. And if we're full strength in October, none of this will matter.
Yeah, they're getting some rest. We were just we were just talking about what the potential lineup could look like if you do lose Schwarber and Harper here, because that's your 1 and 3 hitters within 2 innings of each other. That's just bad luck. Do you I guess Stott maybe goes to the leadoff and you keep Turner in the 2-hole, or do you go Turner leadoff, Stott 2-hole, Bohm 3, Castellanos 4? Like,
I think some combination of Stott and Turner 1 and 2, and then depending on what you do with those two, then the third batter would be left-handed if Turner's 2 and right-handed if Stott's 2. But no matter how you shuffle you
got no home runs in the lineup.
Shuffle the deck chairs around on the Titanic here if all those guys are out. Yeah, I mean if you have Schwarber and Harper and Real Muto all out, you're not going to have very nice looking lineups for a while.
Yeah, it's going to get rough. It's definitely going to get rough. They might even alternate and have, depending on the pitching matchup and everything. I don't know. We'll find out in time. But, John, I know you've got the fireworks show going on behind you shortly, as well as just some more work to get to. So we appreciate you so much for taking time to jump in and share the updates from out of Citizens Bank Park. Wish they were better updates. And fingers crossed and knock on wood and whatever else we got to do. I don't know, Hail Mary, whatever we got to do. Let's hope there's
whatever we got in the toolkit in terms of getting some good luck. Maybe
Luis Robert, do it now. Forget 33 days from now. Get on the phone with the White Sox right now.
Let's just panic. Get on the phone.
Have to push the chips all in to go after Luis Robert, especially with this move, because I know as we're mentioning it, and K. Raleigh's saying, yep, they do need a bat now. So we will see, John. Thank you again so much. As always, we appreciate you and all your tremendous work.
Thanks so much. See you soon.
All right, see you, John.
Well, it's without a doubt for sure known that the Phillies are going to be tested now, because as we await the news of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, regardless what happens, they're going to miss some time. They're going to be tested, and they're going to be tested big. And you know where you guys can get tested today? With our friends over at Rite Aid, because they've got a lot of different options for you around vaccines and different types of vaccines you can take advantage of. But they also have some great options for you around their pharmacy services, which don't have to test you and make life a lot easier for you, because it's stressful enough out here watching sports and life be lifing sometimes. With Rite Aid, they've got some great pharmacy services for you. They've got a Rite Aid My Pharmacy account that you can utilize to be able to refill your prescription, schedule that vaccine, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for any prescription notifications. All you have to do to get started is have a prescription at Rite Aid and get started at riteaid.com. You also can avoid the stress with their mobile app, because everything is mobile, as we talk about. With their mobile app, they allow you to be able to enroll in automated courtesy refills. You get updates, you get all the notifications you need. It's free, it's easy. Most prescriptions do also apply for Rite Aid in general, and they have a lot of really just right at your fingertips and tools to make sure you can take care of the medical side of any prescriptions or vaccines that you're looking to get. They also have the one-trip refills, because I don't know about you guys, I hate having to go drop off a prescription and then come back for it. No. With Rite Aid, you ask them their pharmacist to sync your medication so you can pick them up in one visit. No, you don't have to worry about taking multiple trips to go to Rite Aid. But outside of their vaccinations and pharmacy services, Rite Aid has everything you need, whether it's going there to get some sunscreen and some things to go hit the beach or the pool. Maybe you need to get some gift wrap or a gift bag to go celebrate a birthday party or graduation. They've got a lot of different options for you at Rite Aid. So you can transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid's caring pharmacists are always ready to answer your questions. They helped me in the past when I needed some questions answered around some medications I was looking to find. Nothing bad, but just some vitamins and things. They can help you stay healthy as well. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you may need, including those over-the-counter medications, household products, cleaning products, snacks, cosmetics, and much more. And of course, if you're going for pharmacy services, you can always ask their tremendous pharmacy team for details, and some restrictions do apply. Plenty of options over at Rite Aid, just like the Phillies are going to have hopefully plenty of options. But they won't. Nobody can replace Bryce and Kyle, but we'll talk about that. I'm still a little bitter as I'm walking.
Does Rite Aid have a hamstring section? Can their
I don't know if
pharmacist...
their pharmacy services can provide. They do have a nice little like first aid section with the hamstring brace, but it doesn't replace.
Are there pharmacists qualified to cut my hamstring out of my leg and donate it to Bryce? Could they arrange that? Because I don't need mine. I don't really.
What do you need a hamstring for?
Yeah, I don't need it. He can have mine. It's much shittier than his. But
I've got two. I'll give you. Although my hamstrings aren't great either, but it's better.
Well, they're better than mine. Last night we had a great time as we went out to the Sixers, our brothers over on the Sixers channel's draft party, and got to meet several diehards, and it was a lot of fun. A good time was had by all, and becoming a diehard at PHLY has a lot of benefits, like free merchandise. You get access to our Discord channel, discounts on events that we do. Lots of good stuff is happening. And speaking of that, one of our big events is coming up not that far away. The first annual Liberty Open, the PHLY Liberty Open, July 13th at Valley Brook Country Club, Blackwood, New Jersey. You get 18 holes with a cart, tournament gifts and tea prizes, a taste of Philly dinner and post-round ceremony at the pavilion, unlimited draft beer for 2 hours post-round, contest, team prizes on the course, and it's going to be a great time. So if you want to consider becoming a diehard with us, I promise you, you're going to have a good time. A lot of benefits that come with it. So consider being a diehard with us here at PHLY.
All right, let's reset the room for anybody that's missed what's going on. I just took like an
Bryce
Olipop
is talking to the media right now.
Yes, here's the update. While if you want to listen to what Bryce is saying, for anybody that's missed it, I know the Boz, Philly 007, at K Raleigh, anybody that missed the ending of that game, we saw Kyle Schwarber exit the game with left groin soreness or tightness. And then in the final play, in a run to first base, Bryce Harper hit the bag and came up hobbling, holding his left hamstring. So both of them are expected to be checked out tomorrow. Rob Thompson spoke post-game on our own. John Foley was there to get the updates and was just on the show with us. If you missed him, sharing that they don't know anything yet. There's no plan for the lineup yet. They're just going to wait and see, of course, to be able to check out the severity of things, the timeline of things. We obviously already know the Phillies are dealing with injuries. Spencer Turnbull on the IL with his lat strain, which brings back Junior Marte. You also already have JT Realmuto out. And so injury bug has struck again, and the Phillies lost. But the bigger loss is bodies. I mean, the Marlins lost, like as we talked about so many times, the Phillies are not going to go undefeated, everyone. You know, let's just call it for what it is. They're not going to go undefeated throughout the rest of the season. It is June. They're going to lose games, and they're going to lose games that are ugly or that they shouldn't lose.
Or that was robbed from you by the umpire behind home plate tonight.
They're going to get robbed sometimes. I know people are blaming Topper, it seems like, because people always blame Topper when the Phillies lose. That's what we do in sports. We blame the coaching. Every time. Whoever the manager is, it's your fault. But I think at the end of the day, we knew that there's potential for things to go wrong, which is why it is great that the Phillies have, unlike what the Braves typically do, have been working in so many different guys, have been getting themselves a nice lead in the standings in the NL East, because it does allow you to have a buffer. The hard part is the schedule gets really tough in July and August, and that's very unfortunate, especially given the timeline of how and when these injuries are happening. That makes me very nervous because you're going to have a rough lineup that you're rolling out against, the Braves again, the Dodgers. They have some West Coast trips coming up. It's going to get a lot tougher before it gets easier. But I mean, I think, to be honest, guys, if I'm going to try to be a little bit optimistic, it's June. If you're going to have these sort of battles and tests, I'd rather it be now, because you never know what you're going to get out of it. Look at someone like Rafael Marchand. Rafi's been fantastic. The numbers, another home run tonight. He's had 8 home runs in 1,673 plate appearances in the minors. He's had 1 home run every 209 plate appearances in the minors. In the majors, 4 home runs in 94 plate appearances. That's 1 every 23 plate appearances. He's been solid for the most part. He's been giving you more offensively than I expected, and you would have known that if JT doesn't go down. So there are Edmundo Sosa, another one. Like, this is a time, see who else can give you something. Maybe pushes for the Phillies and Dave to go on and get, and John to go on and get a Luis Robert, because now you're going to need a really good at bat and another good hitter. But it's going to get uglier before it gets better, possibly.
Yeah. First base is obviously a big one. I wonder, Tyler texted the group about Derek Hall. I wonder how much Alec Boehm gets moved over to first base because of Edmundo Sosa. That might be something they consider doing. Cody Clemens can obviously play a little first when he comes up here. Johan Rojas has actually been playing great down in Lehigh Valley. You wonder if he comes back up, if they're both on the IL. So they have options. Cody Clemens, probably the first one up, but Tyler, I don't know what you think. Do they just slide Boehm over to first and play it that way, and maybe Clemens and Boehm?
I'm not sure what the scenario is going to be. I think it depends on if both hit the IL as opposed to one versus the other. Like, if it's
Schwarber's the only one I'm optimistic.
If it's strictly Harper hitting the IL, my guess is you have one of 2 options. You bring Hall up, and he's your first baseman against right-handed pitching, and you go to Boehm with Sosa against left-handed pitching. If it's your other option is to bring Weston Wilson up, like we talked about earlier, because he is versatile, and you kind of just play mix and match the rest of the way. 2 things, guys, before we get too late. I know Philly 0024 brings up Taylor Ward. We've talked about him in the past before. He's the guy to me that I think ends up being the target with a trade with the Angels. Also, sometimes you get enamored by one particular number. So I would like to walk back I don't want Tanner Scott anymore, because a couple of things. His stuff is filthy. His slider is disgusting. And he walked 10 guys in April. And he's walked 10 guys since then. So over the course of May, he walked 5, and he walked 5 in June as well. So the walk rate has come down significantly since a little bit of a command rough first month. He's also a rental, a free agent after this season. So I don't think he cost as much as I initially anticipated. I mentioned maybe a B-level prospect. I'm not sure how much a guy like Tanner Scott would cost. So I got unfortunately duped into stat watching instead of watching the guy pitch, which doesn't happen often, but sometimes everybody gets messed up a little bit. My want for Tanner Scott has increased pretty significantly in the last 12 minutes.
I do think. I'm happy to hear that, Tyler. First of all, I'm proud of you. Good for you for coming around. I will say I do think this is going to force the Phillies' hand, because we had been talking about, do they go after a bullpen arm? Do they go after a center fielder like a Luis Robert?
33 days.
What do they do? I do think, and I agree with you, as ironically the Cure Auto Insurance commercial with Kyle Schwarber comes on, Kyle. With Kyle, I'm a little more optimistic, especially because it was a groin strain, and I don't know, like, we didn't see him physically hurt it in the play the same way we saw Bryce hobbling off. So hopefully he caught it before, and it was like you feel it going, and he was able to pull up. Whereas with Bryce, it looked like it was a wrap. This might force the Phillies' hand, and if it does, I'm not like, everything happens for a reason, yada yada yada. But if this forces their hand to go in and bring in like another strong bullpen arm, or even a center fielder like Luis Robert, that I'm not saying it's worth it. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want them to be out at all. So let me just clarify that before people start dragging me in the comments or something. But I think long term, I think I'd be okay with that.
Well, you still need 2 to tango. So
yeah, for sure.
The White Sox might feel, there's been reports out there that they're scouting the Padres, and I think the Brewers farm systems already. They might milk my old pal Lou Bob for the remaining 33 days here and try and drive up the cost. It's going to be significant because a lot of teams are going to want a guy like Luis Robert at his number, at his age, even with the injury history and his pop potential. So, does it force their hand? TBD. I think this team's magic has very much been in the next man up mentality, and I think they believe that. So, I don't expect anything to happen over these next 2 weeks. I think they're going to give it a run, and then take 14 days off of 33. You get down to the final 2 weeks before the trade deadline, and maybe that's when you can see. All right, we will give you a Bugoya in that deal, or then you sweeten it a little bit. We'll see what happens over that course of the 2 weeks. If they remain above water and their heads above water, then maybe not. Maybe it takes the full 33 days to get maybe a bullpen arm and a center fielder. We'll see.
Well, I think the two things that are going to hold them back from making a move anytime particularly soon is, we talked about it before. There's a lot of teams that are hovering right around 500 that may still consider themselves playoff caliber. I don't know who is going to kind of fall out over the mix over the last, the next 2 weeks. But there's probably some teams that still believe they could be wild card teams. Or, in particular, division sake, like I don't particularly believe the Brewers are going to choke away a division lead at this point, but the Cardinals are kind of on their heels a little bit. The Reds are still hanging right around 500. The Cubs have had a disaster of the last couple of weeks, and they're still not terribly far off. So like teams like that I don't think are ready to make a move just yet. They want to see what kind of direction they're heading in. Plus, I don't think you ever want to be the first to make a move, because I think you want to allow the rest of the league to set the market. And I don't mean the acquisition of a player. I mean the team that's trading the good player away, the major league caliber player away. I don't think they want to be the one to set the tone. I think they want to allow that to come naturally to them.
But sometimes that can bite you. If you let somebody else set the tone, then that other team might get the guy.
You also can look at it in terms of, did the Marlins really get the most they possibly could have for Luis Arraez? Their GM swears that they did. I don't buy it.
No, probably not. But how often do you see a trade of that magnitude that early in a season?
That's what I'm saying.
That's just Marlins ineptitude.
I think teams are gonna balk at being the first team to go off the board.
Well, I mean, it depends if you put together a legit, Luis Robert size package. I mean, you just can't lowball them. Like if you're gonna start trade conversations before the actual deadline, then you got to put up. So
gotta be ready, and you have to be ready to know that you're going to give up some prospects, and you're not going to get a guy like that for cheap. But as mentioned, I know in the chat, Julian C's pointing out Bryce Harper's post-game interview. He was mentioning in the clubhouse for Bryce how he's never had a soft tissue injury before. It just felt it's a new feeling for him. He's really not sure what to make of it at this point. I will say, like the first time I remember
about hamstring health.
The first time I pulled my hamstring, I felt like I got shot in the back of the leg, and I was like, "Holy shit, what just happened?" It is extremely mind-boggling. And then after that, you just are like, "Okay, I know what that means. I know how long I'm out for."
I mean, you see Trey now. Look, he's not even running, near 100% yet.
Exactly.
And that was 6 weeks ago.
So what makes it unfortunate for Bryce is, of course, we had just seen all the news and been following all the numbers of him to win the fan vote, the first Philly to do so since John Kruk did it himself, and to be able to have a locked-in highest vote getter for the NL with a chance to start in his first All-Star game ever. He hasn't played in an All-Star game. He hadn't won Player of the Month. He hadn't won Player of the Week. All these things that we didn't even realize Bryce hasn't been able to do as a Philly. So to be able to get his first All-Star start since 2018, and you have a whopping number of votes going into it, had 12 straight hitting games. He's had an extra base hit in 7 of his last 8 games. Everything's been going so well for Bryce, and it's very, very frustrating to see him go out with that hamstring injury. I agree, Matt Deckard. I am absolutely worried. Hamstring recovery time varies depending on the severity of it, because it can be, again, this is just, I'm not a doctor, but this is just as someone that's strained her and pulled her hamstring several times. It depends on how well you can manage it and not overextend it, because it's a really tricky injury where you feel like you're fine and you go to make a movement and you tweak it and make it worse, and it makes the recovery time worse. So you have to be extremely patient, and you have to make sure you're not rushing yourself back. They did that with Trey. They did a good job with that so far. With Bryce, it really just depends on how proactive they can be in managing it. But we did see the news. Bryce was going to be the first baseman, and then 6 other Phillies have been finalists to start. Of course, there's more voting that's going on. So, guys, go vote for Alec Boehm, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Kyle, Nick, and Brandon all getting votes. But it is a frustrating point that now we are talking about this post-game injuries, umps, and not even the loss, but more about the loss of your all-star, your MV3, Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it's a shame for him. This all-star plague that seems to be with him here in Philadelphia. To add to that, kind of how cool it was about to be for him. Just 13 players in entering 2024 have started at least one all-star game in both the outfield and infield in their career. In the history of the game, Bryce Harper was about to be the 14th player to do that. So he was going to join, like, it's real nerdy stuff, but like some rare air, He was
How many players was it?
13
to make it as both an infielder and an outfielder.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to just now
Mookie
you
Betts is one, right?
Now you want to figure out who they are.
Do you have the players?
I don't. This was a Sarah Lang's tweet.
No, I'm just thinking about like guys that I've got to watch in my experience of.
I would imagine first base outfield is probably the most.
First base outfield is probably
traditional.
Good. Third base outfield,
Dick Allen.
Like, did Craig Biggio do it? Like, I know he played some outfield, played some second.
Dick Allen probably did it,
Lance
right?
Berkman do it as a first baseman and outfielder. I assume Dick Allen probably did it.
Yeah. Look at him. He's deep diving.
He's
nerd deep diving. Tyler and his
Guys,
stats.
if I can find it before you.
Oh my God.
Lance Berkman's a 6-time All-Star. I imagine he probably did.
He sounds. That sounds right.
Some of the names:
outfield,
Musial, Yaz.
Yeah, Berkman did. He played 112 games at second in 2000 or at first in 2006 after being an outfielder the first couple times. Wild. Berkman was the first one that came to my head.
Somebody replied to her tweet. She did not follow up with the information. Somebody followed up as a guess. Ernie Banks, Stan Musial, Robin Yount, Hank Aaron, Yaz, Berra, Cepeda, and Willie Stargell.
As like guesses. We don't know if those are considered.
Wait, was it starters or made the team?
I believe. Let me.
It says have started at least one All-Star game.
Okay. Then I don't think Berkman started those All-Star games.
Yeah, starter.
Yeah, we'll have to eventually get that list. Come on, Sarah.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to give that to the people.
I do know, as you guys we're all putting our doctor hats on, and I know it was mentioned about Brandon Marsh coming back in 2 weeks. As I used to want to be a doctor. Nooms for 9 was mentioning how Brandon Marsh was back in 2 weeks. Brandon Marsh was more. There's different types of hamstring injuries. To actually pull it versus it being sore and tight is totally different recovery times. So that's what I think. What I'm most interested to hear is, did he fully pull his hamstring? Tearing it is a whole different beast, which I don't think that was the case because you were in a lot of pain if that happens. But if you fully pull it versus it just being like sore and tight, is a huge difference in the recovery time. Let's
hope it's not. Let's hope it's nothing. Let's hope he's just one of those guys that like felt something and cramp. Yeah, and like maybe I don't know. He does have a flair for the dramatic.
He does. Maybe it cramped up. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, maybe he cramped. Yeah, hopefully.
It's a hot night. It's been
imagine
hot
if we find out tomorrow that this whole show was for naught. All of our
I would love that. I'd love to be
emotional roller coaster. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine, guys. I'm playing tonight. What are you talking about?" Like, woo, man, we were going through lineups without you and Kyle. That really sucks.
I will probably venture a guess to say, even if he doesn't hit the IL, he's not playing tomorrow.
If he was cramping, he could be back. No, I do think he it could have been like a really bad, maybe just very sore. He hasn't had those types of injuries. And you all know, like when you feel something for the first time, like a muscle that you're not used to hurting, it does drastically change things. So we'll have to stay tuned. We'll be keeping up to date with what's going on. Just like we found out today in the afternoon about Spencer Turnbull. I'm sure in the next 12 to 15 hours, maybe we'll get an update about Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber with their groin and hamstring. So what a way to go into Friday, guys. Because game 1 of this 4-game series, not only did the Phillies lose 7-4 after having a 3-0 lead, they also lost, most importantly, potentially, maybe not, knock on wood, everybody, cross those fingers, knock on wood, cross your toes, pray, whatever you got to do. that Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber are okay. So we'll keep you posted on updates. And guys, as we wrap up, any last things you want to share about today's game that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, robo-umps, challenge system. Rob Manfred, stop being a coward and implement the challenge system at a minimum, please. It will make the game better. That's my final thoughts.
Zach Wheeler pitched well today. It's unfortunate that he got, served up with some unfortunate calls and kind of snowballed and spiraled out of control a little bit today. Zach Wheeler was good. And you had a night where your two high leverage relievers both pitched poorly. I'm not taking a whole lot of stock into the outcome of the game. The injuries, that's concerning. The individual outcome of a 27-out ball game, I don't particularly take too much stock in.
Except that it's the ump's fault.
As you mentioned, Zach Wheeler did finish with 6 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits. Those 2 runs that are going to be attributed to him. 5 Ks, a 2.73 ERA on the day. Wheeler did finish with 115 pitches and 74 of them strikes. It was not a good day for Jeff Hoffman. It was not a good day for Matt Strahm. They both struggled, unfortunately, which we haven't seen. Honestly, it seems Strahm struggled since the opening series of the season.
Yeah, they both
and I can't even point back to when Hoffman really struggled either until like 2023. So they are human, and I'm not worried about the bullpen. I'm not worried about the pitching at all. I am worried about the injury status of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber as well. I agree with both of you. Umps suck, injuries suck, and hopefully things will be fine tomorrow. So for everybody that's tuned in, we appreciate you so much. Nooms for 9, Spiral Out, Julian C. Agreed, it definitely does not look like it was torn. He would definitely be in way more pain. And there is the draft going on for the NHL. We've got our Flyers guys are going to be doing some great coverage live tomorrow.
Charlie's been killing it with his prospect breakdown.
Yeah, make sure you check out all the great work that Charlie, Bill, they've all been doing with the coverage of all the prospects and everything. They've got a lot of great Flyers coverage coming your way tomorrow. We are back live tomorrow, 11 a.m. to recap. I doubt we will have an update on the injury that early in the morning. The Phillies tend to move a little bit slower.
And Jim Salisbury is going to join us at 11:30 tomorrow.
Yes, Jim Salisbury will be on with us tomorrow. But the game at 6:20, I feel like we're not going to get injury updates until like 2 in the afternoon. But it'll be
12:04 as soon as we're off the show.
Yeah,
it'll be Jamie, Jim, and Tyler holding it down for you guys tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be a fun weekend for the Phillies that they can beat up on the Marlins, and maybe this will be revenge. Let's go out, beat up on the Marlins for the next 3 games, and win this lovely coward series, as Jamie always calls it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. for more here on PHLY Phillies podcast. Fingers crossed.
We all silly like the mayor.